Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by again, and if this is your first time on this channel, you're absolutely welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. And in this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to make this comfy and trendy jumpsuit. It has an elastic on the waist, pocket on the side, and also ruched shoulder. And if this sounds like something you would love to learn, please watch till the end so you don't miss any part of it. And without further ado, let's get started. So right here guys, this is the material that we're going to use for this tutorial, and you're going to need around 4 yards to 5 yards, depends on your size. And so right here guys, we're going to work on the upper part first, alright, and I've gone ahead to cut both the front piece and the back piece for the upper part, as you can see right here. And right here, the back piece is 1 inch bigger than the front because this jumpsuit is going to have zipper at the back. And right now I'll come to the top here and I'll mark 1 inch across like so. We are going to use this allowance to create casing for our rope. And up next, I'll just go ahead and indicate from the shoulder to the waistline, and in this case we are using 16 inches, all right, and what is left here is for joining allowance. And right now, the next thing to do is to come to the shoulder line here, and we are going to indicate our shoulder divided by 2, and in this case it is 8 inches, and I'll just indicate like so. And up next, we're also going to go ahead and indicate the length of our sleeve since it's a cut together jumpsuit, okay? And what I have left here is around 14 inches. So you can go ahead and use 12 inches or you use the whole 14 inches. I will use the whole 14 inches for this tutorial, okay? And all together, what I have here on the front piece is around 22 inches on fold. So right now, come to this part here and I'll come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slant. And having done that, I'll come here and create the neckline, all right? And for the width, I'm going to be using 3.5 inches, all right? And for the depth for the back, I will use 1.5 inches and I'll connect the points together like so. And for the front neckline, I'll just come down by about 8 inches. You can use lesser than this, all right, because we have a v-neck right here, okay? And I'll just go ahead and indicate the point, then link it together like so. And up next, I'll just go ahead and link from the neckline to this point here in order to create our shoulder slant. And having done that, the next thing to do is to go ahead and create the sleeve opening. So I'm going to place my tape measure like this, and I'm going to come down by 10.5 inches. You can do 10 inches, okay? I came down by 10.5 inches, and I'll just indicate with the point like so, and I'll just extend the point inward like this. And up next, I'll come to the line here and I'm going to divide my hip by 4, and that is going to give me 10.5 inches, and I'm going to add 4 inches to that. And whatever we have right here, I'm just going to duplicate it on the waistline like so. And I'll just go ahead and connect both points together. And up next, I'll create a curve around the armhole like so. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and cut off the excess right here. And I'll also go ahead and cut off the back neckline. And right here on the shoulder, we're going to go ahead and chalk out the 1 inch allowance. And up next, I'm just going to go ahead and cut open the back piece. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and cut the neckline for the front. And having done that, I'll place the front piece aside. And here on the back piece, I'll just come inward by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be cutting it off in order to avoid zipper bulge at the back here. And having done that, I'm also going to come to the waistline here and I'll come upward by 1 inch, and I'm going to link it towards the side like so, and I'm going to be cutting that part off also. This is because the back waistline is shorter than the front, and this method works for me, but it's totally optional, okay? And so right here we have both the front piece and the back piece of the upper part, as you can see right here. Okay, and you can go ahead and cut out facing for the neck lines. All right, so I'll just fold them and place them aside so we can work on the lower part. And right here for the trouser part, I have the material in a fold of 2. And right here I will indicate the start line. And up next, I will just place my tape measure like this, and I will indicate the hip line, which is 9 inches in this case. And up next, I will indicate the crotch depth, and to get that, I will just go ahead and divide my hip circumference by 4, and that is going to give me 10.5. And I'm just going to go ahead and add 3 inches to that because we are making a jumpsuit, all right? And that is going to give me 13.5. And having done that, the next thing to do is to indicate the trouser length, all right? And I'll just go ahead and use the whole length of this Ankara piece, which is around 44 inches. And right now we are going to come to the waistline here, and I'm going to pick the front piece of the upper part, all right? And whatever we have on the waistline of this front piece is what we are going to use for the waistline of the trouser right here, okay? And I'll just go ahead and indicate it like so. And having done that, whatever we have on the waistline, we're also going to go ahead and duplicate it on the crotch length. And we are going to go ahead and link the 2 points together. And having done that, we're going to come to the crotch line here, and we're going to get our crotch extension. To do this, we are going to go ahead and divide our hip by 20, but because this is a free trouser, we're going to divide our hip by 16, and that is going to give me 2.6. And I'll just go ahead and indicate that here. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and create the crotch curve like so. And up next, we're going to connect from the crotch to the hemline and from the side here to the hemline, all right? Or you can also come to the hemline here and come inward by 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on the other side. Then we now connect it. You can use the second method if you don't want the hemline to be too big, all right? Or you use the first one, depends on what you want, all right? So right now, just go ahead and connect the points together like so. And next, I'll go ahead and cut out the pattern. And so right here, we have our front piece. And right here, I'll go ahead and place the front piece on a fresh fabric. And right here, I'll just go ahead and extend the crotch line and also the hip line. And having done that, I'll come here on the crotch line, and we are going to create the crotch extension for the back, all right? And I'm going to be extending it by 2.5 inches. You can do 2 inches if you're on the smaller side, or 3 inches if you have a big butt, all right? And having done that, I'll come to the hip line here and come outward by 1.5. You can do 2 inches, okay? Next, I'll connect the point together like so. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and connect from the waist to the hip point right here, okay? And right here on the waistline, I'm not going to be adding any allowance to this, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess that we have right here. And having done that, I'll come to this side here and I'll start marking 1 inch. I'll also mark 1 inch on this point here. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and connect the point to the crotch extension. And having done that, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out. For this pattern, I forgot to add the zipper allowance, okay? So don't forget to add zipper allowance to the back piece. And having done that, right here, we have the back piece. And so right here, remember we have both the back piece and the front piece right here, okay? And what I will do next is just to come down from the waistline by 2 inches. And from the 2 inches point, I'm going to come down by 7 inches and indicate like so. And on this 2 point, I'm just going to go ahead and notch it, okay? And that is where we are going to be inserting our pocket later on. And right now we can go ahead and start stitching, all right? And this is the upper part that we cut earlier on, okay? And the next thing we want to do is to go ahead and align both pieces right side facing right side, and we're going to go ahead and join the shoulders together. And right here guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to join the shoulders using the 1 inch allowance we left there, all right? And right now I'll just go ahead and open it up like so. And right here on the shoulders, after joining it, we're going to go ahead and open it up using our pressing iron. And right here on the shoulders, we are not going to join the whole thing. We are going to leave an opening of about 1.5 inches, all right, so that we can use that to fold the sleeve, all right? And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and fold the sleeve separately like so, okay? And after folding each of the sleeve, we're also going to go ahead and fold the allowance we left on the shoulder by 1/2 inch like so. To make it easier for you, go ahead and use a pressing iron to fold this part, okay? Then you're going to go ahead and stitch it. And right here guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to create casing on the shoulder, and right now we need our long rope, all right? And I've gone ahead to create the long ropes, okay? And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and use our safety pin to pass in the rope like so. And after bringing out the rope on this end, I'm going to use a pin to hold it in place. And then we're going to pick the other end of the rope and we're going to insert it into the second channel. And after passing the rope to the other end, I'm just going to go ahead and hold it with a pin, all right? And this way we can go ahead and ruche it later on, okay? And I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side of the shoulder. And having done that, you can go ahead and top stitch on this part and the other side right here so that the rope can be secured, all right? And the next thing to do is to go ahead and finish the neckline. And here are the facing that I cut out before joining the shoulders, okay? You can also use a bias to finish the necklines, but here I'm going to be using the facing, okay? And what I will do right now is to go ahead and align the facings together on the shoulders like so. And I'm going to be using the 1 inch allowance on the shoulder to stitch them together so that the facing will be in one piece. I will then use the one piece facing to stitch the neckline all around. And right here guys, I've gone ahead to use the facing to stitch on the neckline, as you can see right here, and I gave it a good press, okay? And the next thing to do is to go ahead and pin the zipper allowance at the back. And up next, we're going to be joining the sides together using 1 inch. And right here, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to stitch the sides, and this is what it looks like on the right side. And right now we can place this aside and work on the lower part. And for the trouser part here, we are going to be joining the crotch area using 1/2 inch allowance. And I'm also going to repeat the same process to the back. We are going to be joining the back also using 1/2 inch allowance, all right? So remember to go ahead and add zipper allowance to yours, okay? And because I didn't add zipper allowance to mine when I was drafting it, okay, I'll just go ahead and use the allowance, the joining allowance for my zipper allowance. I hope you understand that, all right? So I'll just go ahead and measure from the waistline till about 8 inches, and I'll just indicate that part, all right? That is where I'm going to use for my own zipper allowance, okay? And I'm going to just go ahead and stitch the rest of it, okay? And right here guys, I've gone ahead to stitch the crotch area for the front and also the back piece, all right? And this open part where we're going to be installing the zip, I'll just go ahead and pin it. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and open it up. And I'm also going to pick the front piece and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to place them right side facing right side. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and align it properly, and we're going to stitch the sides and also stitch the inseam. All right, but before we do all that, we are going to be attaching our pocket to the trousers. And here I've gone ahead to cut out the pocket of camera, and we're going to be attaching the pocket to the point where we notched on our trousers. Okay, and here the pocket opening is also 7 inches wide. Okay, and right here I'll just go ahead and pin the pocket to both sides of the trousers, and we're going to stitch it. And after stitching the pocket to both sides of the trouser, we're going to align both the front leg and the back leg of the trousers together like so. Okay, and we're going to be stitching the sides. All right, I'm going to be using 1 inch on the side of the trouser, then it's going to come inward into the pocket like so, and from the pocket we are going to also take 1 inch all the way down from the side like so. And right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to stitch the sides, and here we also have our pocket. And right here on the inseam, as you can see, I've gone ahead to also stitch it. And right now, the next thing to do is to go ahead and align both the upper part and the lower part together. We're going to pick the center front of the upper part and align it to the center of the trouser. So right here, I'm just pinning it all around. Make sure that the side align with the side, the center aligns with the center. All right, and after pinning it, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and join them together. And right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to join the upper part to the lower part, as you can see right here. Okay, and the next thing to do is to go ahead and gather the waistline using our elastic. All right, and in order to do this, you are going to need a long stripe. All right, and also you are going to need your elastic band. And right here on these stripes, I've gone ahead to fold 1/2 inch on both sides, and I gave it a good press. Okay, and the wideness of this stripe is around 2.5 inches. You can do 2 inches, then fold 1/2 inch on both sides, so you are going to have 1 inch. All right, and to know the length of the stripe, go ahead and measure all around the waistline of the jumpsuit. And for the elastic band, just go ahead and minus about 6 inches away from your actual waist circumference, and that is what you are going to cut out for the elastic band. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and place the elastic casing on the waist area like so. All right, and you can go ahead and top stitch it. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and open the elastic casing like so, and 1/2 inches away from the joint part of the waist, I'm going to go ahead and stitch all around. All right, and having done that, I'm going to flip it downward and top stitch. All right, I hope you understand that. And right here, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to stitch the casing to the waistline of the jumpsuit, as you can see right here. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is just to go ahead and insert our elastic. So right here, I've gone ahead to insert the elastic, and I'm just going to use a pin to hold it in place while I top stitch it later on. Okay, I'll make sure to hold both ends of the elastic so that it doesn't pull in. Okay, and the next thing to do is to go ahead and install our zipper. All right, and we're also going to fold the hemline of the jumpsuit. Okay, and right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to install the zipper, as you can see right here. Okay, and I also went ahead to finish the hemline of the jumpsuit right here. And right now our jumpsuit is ready, and it's looking so beautiful. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and I will see you in my next tutorial.